there seems to be some sort of hitbox or hit accuracy issue in Dark Souls 2. I think most of you have seen some of this if you participated in some of the PvP in the game. I'm not sure of the exact details. It could be something as simple as poor handling of latency. It could just simply be bad hit validation between players. What you'll see is a lot of attacks that will occur extremely far away from you that will still connect. This is typically called phantom hits. This is a pretty big problem with certain attacks. You'll see this a lot with running attacks, especially from katanas. This problem tends to affect the more squishy builds more than the tanky builds. In any situation where you can't afford to take a hit, you need to make sure that the hit accuracy is as good as possible. This can be pretty tough for mage or archer builds. Usually they tend to be using less health and less armor than other builds. Having had the luxury of playing the game on 360, PS3, and PC, I've noticed that it doesn't seem to be very different between the systems. All versions of the game seem to be played with inaccurate hitboxes and lag in PvP. The behavior that I've seen is very similar to Dark Souls 1 on the PS3. Unlike the 360 and PC versions of Dark Souls 1, the PS3 version tended to have much higher latency. This is probably due to a much higher frequency of international connections. Once the latency hits a certain point, there's only so much that the netcode can do. One thing that gets mentioned pretty often is that Dark Souls 2 is supposed to be using dedicated servers for multiplayer connections. Supposedly this is only for matchmaking purposes. Once players are matched, the session is entirely peer-to-peer. If this wasn't the case, then I could put up a pretty good guess as to why the problem's so bad. If all multiplayer sessions are hosted by dedicated servers, it's quite possible that Namco and From Software haven't invested in enough servers to handle the load. This would pretty cleanly explain some of the issues we've seen so far. That being said, I'm pretty sure that the sessions are still peer-to-peer, although that doesn't explain why things are so much worse than Dark Souls 1. I'm curious to see if FromSoft can fix the issue. Most of the patches so far, outside of some balance tweaks, seem to be mostly focused on ensuring that functionality exists at all, and not to increase the quality of those features. The sole exception to this so far is increasing the speed in which menus load. If FromSoft can make an improvement like that, then I wonder if they can improve the connection quality as well. So what do you think? Is the hitbox issue as bad as I think it is? Is this something that players can adapt to over time? Is this an issue that FromSoft is willing and able to fix? Tell me what you think in the comments below.